Good evening, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords, and welcome to the Star Wars Artifact Show. I am Dominic, and tonight, with my co host Eric, we will break down episode 10 of the amazing Andor series. But before we begin, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right, and yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I received a little package on Tuesday, and it kind of made my day because it's a package that was pretty exclusive. It's the Battle of Heroes
Nice.
Legacy Lightsaber box set, and well, it's pretty neat. There's only 5,000 copies of this box set in the whole world, so I'm one of the fortunate 5,000 to get it. And well, there's two lightsabers in it. There's the Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3 and the Anakin Skywalker Episode 3 as well.
Yeah. If
The
I
whole
were to get
team
a
is
box
like,
set, that would definitely be the one for me. I think it's.
yeah, it's still available if you're looking for someone who can get it to you. I could
Yeah, I got it. Like I've
check with
mentioned
my
in previous
sponsors.
episodes, it's Disney time. It's getting closer and
True.
closer. So once that's done, then we'll we'll see about more about growing the collection a bit. But right now, it's we're a little tight there. So we have
No, I
James
get it.
and we have uh was it? I can't read that. You Mule Tees, or I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading that. Can you read that name?
No, you tease, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you're butchering your username. Uh,
It looks like
yeah, it
Dom's
looks
got
like
a
Dom's
handle
got
on
a
things.
handle
Yeah.
of thing as usual. Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah.
You want to explain what
So
that is in front of you, Dom? The
yeah, the blue orb. Yeah, it's to celebrate Life Day, which is celebrated on November 17, which marks the anniversary of the amazing Star Wars Holiday Special. I, amazing is like a little bit of irony, but Life Day is a Wookiee celebration on Kashyyyk, and it's to celebrate the great values like family, joy, kindness, acceptance, all stuff like that, and
it's like the
if you
family
live
day in
close
Ontario that
to,
we don't get, right? So
yeah, true, and if you live close to Batu on Galaxy's Edge, well, you can go over there, and there's a little usually a little event where there's a lightsaber gathering with some photographs and people take pictures.
nice.
They did it last Saturday to make it more convenient with the weekend. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And the orb was shown at the end of the holiday special when it came out. I think it was in '78 between episode 4 and 5. So yeah, it's pretty cool. The orb glows. It changes a little bit of color. Maybe you'll see it
Yeah, I could
on
see
the
it a
camera,
little
but
bit. Yeah. Is that
maybe
that's another Galaxy's Edge piece, or
yeah, it's another Galaxy's Edge piece. And there's also like T-shirts. These are like plushes of Chewbacca in his red robe that we see in the holiday special, and he holds the orb that there's on my table. So yeah, it's pretty
and his
cool. And
wife there and his whole family?
yeah, well, there's I ordered a T-shirt, and the whole family is there. His wife, I think it's his father and his son.
Jeez.
So everybody's on the pictures. Yeah. So maybe next year on the next Life Day, I'll be sporting my Life Day T-shirt.
Nice. So this episode, what did you think, real quick?
I thought it was good, but I thought it was short.
Yeah,
I would have,
another short one. I think it was another 43, 46 minutes, something like that. It was,
yeah, with the credits.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's
So
like 35 minutes if you remove the credit.
I
So,
think I was expecting a little bit more action, considering it
hmm
was, two episode finale, but the little action that we did get was good. And I think overall I was pretty happy. I was pleasantly surprised with it. So
yeah, and if I can encourage you, my Boston spies told me that the season finale would be around the 54-minute mark. So
yeah, that's good. I'll take the
it's a little
extra
bit better.
eight
Yeah,
minutes or whatnot. But a lot of the
yeah.
previous episodes were close to more the 50-minute mark. But without any further ado, let's get into the presentation
Aha!
here. But
Now you got
before,
my box set.
there we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
So if you were wondering what was the box set I just received, well, that's the box. It's made to look like lava that we see on Mustafar. Uh, I'm not sure if it's like a complete success for the look, but the lightsabers are pretty amazing, and the flash on flash, and they're pretty responsive for legacy lightsabers. So I was very pleased. Of course, it's not like a Corbant lightsaber, but um, it's a pretty decent product for the price tag. Two lightsabers for 375. Usually they're sold for 170. So if you do the math, you only pay like what $35 for the wooden box.
Yeah.
So it's
Which
not
it's good
that
for
much.
presentation. I mean, I've seen the stuff in the box at your place, and I think it really adds a lot of charm to it. And those, just for my knowledge, I mean, or anyone else that might not know, can you actually put in a blade in any of those? Or
Yes,
okay,
in both of them. Yeah, there's an extra emitter for the Obi-Wan Kenobi because the blade wouldn't fit in the thin neck portion, but underneath the styrofoam, there's like an extra emitter that you unscrew this one, you screw in the other one, and
and
you're
use the
able
blades
to.
from the Galaxy's Edge, I guess.
Yeah, you could buy one like on Dars Day of Antiquities, or if you have built a Savi's workshop lightsaber,
Yeah.
those blades fit as well.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
there are three different lengths of blades. So they
Nice.
at Dars they sell the 26 and the 36 inches, and they sell the 31 inch at Savi's workshop. Well, you got to build the saber to get that length, that blade length. So
Okay. All right. Well, before we start, just a reminder again, as usual, spoiler
yeah,
alert. We are going to be talking about what happened in the episode. So if you haven't seen it, pause this, go watch it, and come back because you will get spoiled absolutely. But also, before we start, someone gave their opinion on the episode here. It says two things about this week's episode without details. I've said it since episode 1. B2 having a voice that speaks basic is more emotionally charged than beeps and boops. And 2, that was probably in the top 3 space sequences in Star Wars ever. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
That was
oh yeah, for
pretty
sure.
sick. But we'll get to that. So, this episode was titled Daughter of Ferrix, and we began with Andor and Melchion still on the run on Arkina 5. Both of them are hanging off the cliff, trying to stay out of sight of the Imperial Patrol, trying to find escapees. Both of them are struggling to hang on. I think Melchi was saying that he couldn't even feel his hands anymore, I think. Um, so yeah, we get a little more shot there. It was I felt bad for them. I mean, what do you see, like the scabs and all that stuff? Like I don't know how long they've been running or walking or climbing, but
Mhm.
it was pretty intense. Um,
And if you guys were wondering what type of TIE fighter went over their heads, it was a TIE Reaper, like the one we saw in the Rogue One movie, that were dropping Death Trooper on the beach.
okay.
So
Uh, then we go to Ferrix, where we learn that Marva's passed. Um, it's weird, like they didn't even really show her really like the last two episodes, right? So it's like
True.
if she had a contract for X amount of episodes, and like they just kind of referenced her in the previous one, and then this one basically, okay, she's done, and put a blanket on her head. Like they didn't even show her dead or anything like that. I guess it would have been a little bit morbid, but I would have even maybe expected them to show her when she was sick.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is what it
Because
is.
the last time we heard of her, we were told that she was refusing to take her
Yeah,
pills.
that's it. But we didn't even see her, right? So it
Yeah.
was anyway. So daughters of Ferrix are there to help Brasso, and everyone is obviously sad. But B2 seems to be the most affected by the terrible news, and her body is taken away for preparations for the funeral.
Hmm. And meanwhile, our good old Corv, which is Dedra's spy on Ferrix, watches the scene, and so does Cinta, who now has found a job as a waitress. And well, it's funny because they both have a conversation, but well, I think Cinta knows that Corv is a spy, but I don't think Corv has a clue who Cinta truly is. So it was interesting listening to that conversation with Cinta saying, "Oh, I began last week." So
Yeah,
yeah, it was a nice little detail that they added over there. And then we return right away to Narkina 5, where Cassian and Melshi spot two alien fishermen and their quad jumper. That's the same kind of ship that we see in The Force Awakens. Ray and Finn are running to grab a ship, but it is blown up by TIE fighters.
oh yeah,
And then they turn to Plan B, which is the
yeah.
Millennium
Millennium
Falcon.
Falcon, yeah. Huh. I thought it looked
So,
familiar, but I couldn't. I mean, it's got similarities also with the Razor Crest, kind of like
yeah, true.
the cosmetics of it a little bit, but maybe it's just the thrusters that kind of look a little bit like that. But
Yeah,
so
so there you go. It's a quad jumper, and then she tries to run for it and steal the fisherman's ship, and Dor follows, but they both end up caught, as you can see right now, in nets. The fisherman had set. It was like some sort of a booby trap that
yeah,
they had set.
it actually disturbing. It looks more like a kind of a slimy
Yeah,
spider web of some sort, right? So it really had that kind of Spider-Man look to it too. So, but you could see it's. I mean, it's pulling his eye, right? And it looked quite
looks very
uncomfortable.
sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So back on Ferrix, Captain Tigo and his men report to Deidre of the death of Cassian's mom. Since she was a prominent citizen figure for on Ferrix, people have requested for Rick's road to be closed. Tigo says that they will not allow it, but Deidre says that they should. Um, and she has it at the minimum. People should be allowed to attend the funeral. She's basically setting up a trap for Cassian, right? Like, I mean, at this point,
hmm,
she knows that there's a very good chance he'll come back. Obviously they're unaware of where he was at that time that he was in a jail, but like or a prison. But it would seem like common sense with the relationship that he had that he'd come back. So then Deidre asks what the ceremony would look like, and Tigo answers that the tradition wants the ashes to be mixed with mortar and local stone dust. Then they put your name on it and fire it up. You become a block of Ferrix brick, and then they find you in the wall. So
would it be ironic if they used that brick to start the riot in the next episode? They
hey, you
throw
could
it in
say
the
she
face
started it. Yeah,
of
yeah.
Dedra, yeah.
Come on, too soon,
Forever!
too soon, too soon.
Yeah. So on Narkina 5, poor Cash and Melshi are still trapped in the fisherman's net. The alien tell them that the fugitive are worth 1,000 credits, dead or alive. But thankfully, they're not big fans of the Empire because they have polluted the water and now they have trouble catching some fish. So they release them and they even agree to take them to Miamos. So we obviously had some doubts that he would go back there because his secret stash is still in his old hotel room. But we'll get back to that a little bit later. And on the Coruscant, well, Vel visits Luton's shop of antiquities.
Hold on. We got to
Uh,
talk about this. And if anyone
yeah,
knows,
okay.
I almost challenged Dom before we started this. It was earlier in the day. And I said, what is that symbol on that coin or whatever that she's cleaning up? Because I was almost sure that that would have been one of the Easter eggs that Dom would have came with me and linked
Mm-hmm.
that to somewhere else. But he did not. He disappointed me. I'm still not over it. But yeah, so
Well,
if
I told
anyone
you it looked
knows,
like the Acrobat Reader logo.
yeah, so yeah, but if anyone knows what that is or can look it up and inform us, then that would be great. But I posted that there because yeah, I was expecting that to be an Easter egg and it was not. So sorry. Go ahead, Dom, and continue on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, well, Clea is alone, playing with her little Dremel, uh, and Vel and Clea have a little chat. And Clea wants to use the traditional coded language, but Vel is not in the mood. She ends up telling Clea that Cassion's mother has died, and that there are a lot going on Ferrix. Clea assures Vel she will pass the info to Luton as soon as she gets a hold of him, and that is another artifact that I would love to know the signification. It looks like the Aztec calendar, but
Yeah.
obviously that's not it. But if someone on the chat or who listens to the podcast later on know what it is, please let us know because it looks great. I would have that in my office.
Uh, so there's a couple of things that are coming in, and we'll
Oh
get
yeah,
back
on
to
the
the
chat. The
B
chat is
two.
active. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get actually right back to that. There's one that says it's the Filoni Trinity. Oh, I don't know if that means that that's what that symbol is, but
Huh, oh, maybe.
I'd be curious.
I'd be curious. Yeah.
So let's move on because there is something that my own personal, probably unpopular opinion that's coming up. But back on Ferrex, Brasso returns to Marvel's home, and he is greeted by B2. Um, so
I
across,
wanted to talk about B2. You told me so.
yeah. So that's the thing, and we'll get to that. So across the street, Corp continues to monitor what's going on, and Sita does the same while working as a waitress. Uh, we see the time grappler at work for the first time, and Brasso wants to take B to his place, but avoids. But the droid convinces him to stay for the night. So here's my opinion about B2,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really cool, and he speaks basic and all that stuff, but I think it's way too emotional for a droid. Like it
Okay.
is way too much. Like the sentiment, the the way that like he seems so sad. Like how is this programmed, right? Like he's supposed to be like he doesn't even want he's not even following orders at this point. It
Mm-hmm.
reminds me really of like like short circuit where he got zapped with something and now he's alive, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit of an issue with the fact that he's just way too real at this point. And like it'd be fine if we had seen this before, and maybe I'm wrong, but like I just find it's a little bit over the top with human emotions. Again, probably really not a popular opinion, but I don't know.
Well,
I'm
look in the
struggling with
chat,
it. Yeah.
Eric. His name is literally
B2 emo.
B2
I
emo.
know,
So
but like,
he's too emotional. But
yeah,
at times we saw like Tripio getting emotional.
yeah, we saw that, but you
He
saw
gets
that in what?
afraid. he doesn't want to be left with his parts showing in episode one.
Yeah,
Uh, and
feels
there's some.
embarrassed, and yet I get it. I don't know. I just felt like this is being treated like a child almost, and it's like, okay, I'll stay over with you. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, so anyway, I'm nitpicking. This is like the only time I thought that there was ever really something. I'm just like, you know what? Like, but out of the whole series, that's the only thing, and I could totally live with it if I can live with stuff that's happened in the sequels and stuff that I've seen in, even as far as Clone Wars, which is considered canon. I could definitely live
Mhm.
with this, but I was just a little surprised by just how human he was. So,
Well, to
um,
me, it's like he's like a puppy who speaks, you know. And I even made a comparison a few podcasts ago when I mentioned that his little charging bay looked like a dog's bed that you buy, at the pet shop,
yeah,
So, and every time somebody comes at the door, he rushes to the door and says, "Oh, I'm happy to see you," like
but
a puppy
but the
who
fact that
rushes
he
to
wants to
you.
stay there and the comfort of this is like it's hard for me to understand that. I can
Yeah.
understand basic emotions, being
Hmm.
scared, but like wanting to stay there for a comforting kind of thing. It just, I don't know, it threw me off a little bit, but again, I don't want to get too much into it. I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but I don't know, for me this, I was kind of fixated at just like, because I saw it obviously in the previous scene, and then this was like going really far with it, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Like this guy runs on a battery, right? Like it's just, it was
Yeah.
kind of crazy to see that. But I'm nitpicking. So to go back to what James said, he said B2 made me more emotional than any of the humans, even Caston's reaction when he finds out. And yeah, I completely agree with that. Like
Yeah.
you felt much more grief coming from B2. Not that you didn't feel any from Caston, but I mean B2 is definitely like the one that like you'd be like, oh man, poor guy, right? Like, but
Hmm.
again, it's a droid, right? So um,
There's
totally,
another comment that reminded us that Leet in Solo was super emotional. When she that was the Lando's Lando
yeah,
droid in the Falcon.
that was, yeah.
Her rant about being the other droid being slaves and
Yeah,
the mutiny of the droids and stuff like that. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I get that. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. For me, it's like these things are robots. They're programmed to, I guess, serve, have a purpose, and to think that they've grown emotional attachments to stuff. And again, you only see it. I guess we're talking about Solo, which is like, not the original trilogy.
Hmm.
We're talking about Force Awakens, not Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. Sorry, Rise of Skywalker, when it was C3PO saying, "I'm saying goodbye. I'm looking at my friends for the last time." The little kind of
Yeah.
like sentimental moment, stuff like that. So, is it more of a Disney thing? And obviously, I compare
Perhaps.
it to Wally. Like that kind of emotion that Wally had and
Yeah.
attachment, stuff like that. So I think that that's more. I think it's more along the lines of the Disney approach. And again, I'm not
Hmm.
one of those Disney haters and everything like that, but I think it's more aligned with their kind of values. And then, because again, you refer to 3PO even in the original movies, but it was like, I guess, slight emotions. Ooh, fear, like that's it. But like, I can understand that, right? Like,
Hmm.
but this was just for a little bit more that I was used to. So, and then other
If
comments
he
is.
could, he would cry tears of oil. I like that one.
Well, I mean, to go back, I mean, when uh, 3PO took that bath in A New Hope, right? And he was like, "Oh, it feels so
Yeah.
good,"
Thank the
I'm
maker.
like, what are you feeling? Like, you actually can you feel something actually like on your? I can understand his gears moving better, I guess, but that was a little weird too.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'm done with that. I've said what I had to say, but we'll move on. So, Bix, at this point, still feeling the effects of the interrogation. She seems to be in pretty bad shape. She's obviously still completely shook. by what she heard, which we never heard. She's taken to a room where she's shown a hologram of Anto Krieger. Finally, we get to see what he looks like. And again, I'm going to digress and rant a little bit, like I just told you before. I think it looks like something out of a video game, but Casson did look like that as well, very clean and everything. But he's got a bit of a weird shape going to him.
Well, they
Um,
put some de-aging filters on the hologram.
but do you even know who that? Yeah, exactly. Do you even know who that is? Like as an
No,
actor? Like me
it's
neither.
the first time we see his face. So,
Yeah.
no,
So
but when we saw the hologram of Cassian, he looked a little bit de-aged on the
yeah,
hologram.
yeah. I
But he was supposed to be because I think they said he was dating for
well,
a few
yeah. This
years.
is the last image that
So,
they have him. This just looks like a bald Ryan Reynolds in a fat suit to me. Like it doesn't look like his face doesn't seem to match his body. But anyway, I digress again. So the Imperials want to know who this man, if this is the man that she introduced to Andor. Doesn't even answer. So I mean, I don't know what you read into it or what our viewers read into this, but did they think that her silence and her tears confirm that? But obviously, it's not what happened. But
or
like,
or did she answer after the cut?
yeah, well, that's
So,
it, right? So I don't know that
and
one.
what did she answer? If she answered yes, I mean, Luton is perfectly fine, But
Well, yeah,
if she said
because
no, no, Luton is in big trouble.
yeah, well, yeah, because the thing is, we're gonna get to see what happens next episode, but
Hmm.
it'll come into play with what happens next.
Yeah. So on Coruscant, we see Leda, Ma's daughter, with teenager of her age, reacting to a Chamberlain chant that sounds like a prayer. This seems to be a tradition before young girls take a spouse. Vel, who is visiting, looks shocked and asks more questions about it. Uh, and well, we learn that Leda herself is interested in the old ways. But Ma, or even her a-hole of a husband, has nothing to do with that situation. So uh, when Vel asks Ma why she doesn't try to stop her from doing such a thing, Ma explains to her all the financial trouble she's in, and we understand that maybe it was going to lead to her daughter meeting Davos Cullen's son, as we saw in the previous episode. So yeah, she's in big trouble. We see we see her struggle in her eyes, tearing up. So she doesn't want it to get to this point, but she might have no choice.
Yeah,
Or perhaps Vel will come to the rescue, ask Luton up for 400,000 credits. They got 80 million credits from the Aldani robbery, so they could spare
yeah.
400,000,
I
I
don't think
guess.
she's gonna get saved because I mean, obviously, her path in this saga or story, leads her
Hmm.
to be, I guess, she's not on Coruscant anymore, right? So she's like, obviously, there's I assume we're gonna see maybe in the next episode briefly how she's kind of like outed or something's gonna happen, but we know that she's not gonna continue down this path for much longer, right? So
Yeah, but I don't expect her to leave her post as a senator this season.
no,
I
no,
expect it to happen like maybe in the first or second arc of season two.
okay.
So
I'm curious about the
the,
timing on that though. I mean, we know it's supposed to cover like 4 or 5 years, so I mean, I don't know how many
mhm.
episodes or
Each arc will cover a year, but
okay,
if we refer to Star Wars Rebel, we see the moment where she definitely leaves the Senate and she becomes like an outlaw
okay.
or one of the most wanted people for the Empire. So
Yeah, I'm not sure how that
yeah,
timeline. I don't know if you know about like the timeline how that kind of
I
covers
think
it.
it's 2 or 3 years BBY.
Okay. So yeah,
So they
so
would be during. That's why I
s-
said
the
first or
first or
second arc
second,
of
yeah.
season. No.
Hmm. So still on Coruscant, Sorel is awakened by his mother in the middle of the night because someone is on the phone for him. To our great surprise, we see the face of Sergeant Mosk, his former Primor colleague. Apparently, he stayed on Ferrix and now works in the mines on the night shift. He
I
informs
gotta
Sir.
admit, I thought it was long gone for me in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I was surprised to see, hey, look who's there.
He doesn't have the desk job that Cyril has. So he
Hmm.
informs Cyril that Andor's mom just died, and communications are really bad. He's going in and out. He's having a hard time hearing everything that's going on and back and forth. So we finally catch up after that to Andor and Melchi on Niamos, and then Cassian is returned to his former hotel room. Obviously, it's not the same person that's in that bed. Uh, I don't think he had the same kind of relations with whatever's in that bed with he did with the previous ones. Obviously, sneaking
Yep.
around to pick up the case he
Hmm.
had hidden before being arrested. He opens it up and we see that his credits, his blaster, and MX Manifesto are still there. So untouched. I would assume if the box is still there, then everything is still there.
And then we get to, I think it's my favorite scene from the episode, at least for the quality of the actors. But we get to discover what Luton was up to, why he was not at his shop. The reason is he's paying a visit to Saw Gerrera on Segua Milo. Saw informs Luton that he has decided to accept the deal he proposed to him a few episodes ago, but then Luton tells him the deal is off. Saw wonders why, and then Luton explains that Krieger will fall into a trap laid by the ISB. And then we see Forrest Whitaker act like a paranoid guy. It's simply beautiful. He's looking around, checking his men, wondering if one of them is a spy from the ISB. He even, asks Luton if he is from the ISB. Uh, it get pretty intense, and then, well, you know, they Luton explains the whole situations. Yeah, he has to put a blaster almost in the Saga River's face to
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 get him
calm
to
him down
listen,
and get
yeah.
his attention. Yeah,
It
um,
was funny how he got it though. He said
yeah,
he throws the
yeah.
other guy into the way. Oh yeah, he's my informant. He goes, what? Like the guy's
G
like,
two is my informant.
that was a pretty funny scene. So
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And well, he explains him that he has an asset at the ISB, and that the asset, is a lot more valuable than the 30 men and they're about to sacrifice. So um, it takes a moment, but ultimately Saw understands Luden's reasoning, and they both agree that it is one of the many consequences of being at war. And we get the famous quote that we had heard in the trailer. Let's call it war.
yeah.
That Saw Gerrera says. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So
Well, I mean, he understands that like what is it, 50 men plus
30,
like 30 men plus
30 men plus
Krieger.
Krieger. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I guess that's he understands where Luthen's drive for this and the fact that I guess it was too optimistic to think that no one would have to fall, and there
Hmm.
will be sacrifices. And like you said, now it's not just a big kind of like plan or like it is war and there are casualties
Yeah.
as part of that, right? So, but that was
And
definitely another intense scene. So,
Lonnie better not disappoint now.
yeah. So, um, after that, we go to Coruscant for a brief moment, simply for us to see that Cyril steals credits from his mom. It's funny, he waits for her to leave, and then it's like if you just, like some kid who went in his mom's purse and like took $20 to go play at the
Yeah,
arcades or something. It was just kind of weird that,
felt like that.
yeah. So I mean, I'm very curious to see where he's going with this. He
Well,
had
I
no,
think he's going to Ferrix.
yeah,
He's going
yeah,
back.
but I mean, I'm
He's
curious
going
to
to
see
use the
how he's
money
gonna
to
get
pay
there,
for the
and
travel.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
pay for
I
the
can't
trip.
wait. I'm looking forward to him seeing Deidre again. So or her seeing him. So I'm
Hmm.
curious now how that whole scene's gonna go down, and I'm almost disappointed that there's only be 55 minutes to see how that's all gonna happen. Hopefully they get to the point quick, and we get to see, and don't leave us on too much of a cliffhanger for until the next season. So
I don't- I'm gonna make a little prediction there. Cyril catches Cassian. He brings him to Deidre with his, happy face. Look what I got! And then Deidre kills him because she wants the credit
the
for catching
glory, yeah.
Andor.
Hmm.
But that's my theory, but it might not
Very
happen like
probable.
that, obviously. But
Very probable. I mean, it would suck because I want to see him kind of like move up a little bit and actually find his way back into some kind of like position and part of the empire and everything like that. And
mhm.
maybe he turns on her, right, or something. But I mean, I think that's wishful thinking.
Yeah,
Um, so after that, back at the antique shop, Clea receives a communication from Luthen. They speak in a coded language, obviously, like, hey, the collection piece, how are we doing with that? I don't want it falling to the hands of another collector. Um, but he asks if she's heard anything from Cassian. She says he's still alive, but Cinta is still looking for him. So he stresses that they must get their hands on him before the Empire, uh, and before they get the chance to talk some more, communications are disrupted. So, I mean, in the Star Wars universe, you know, what was the famous line? When it goes, it could only mean, or was it episode one? It goes, it didn't say interference, but like it could only mean
oh
one
yeah, from
thing.
the episode one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Invasion.
yeah, it can only mean invasion, and whenever there's interference coming, you know that there's something going down, right? It's not their Wi-Fi
Yeah,
that's weak. So
absolutely. And well, that's exactly what we see next. We see that Luton's Fondor is pursued by a Cantwell class arrestor cruiser. Wow, that's a little tongue in the cheek, too hard to say, but yeah, I nailed it.
it's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. Yeah. So this ship has a very powerful tractor beam and is commanded by Captain Elk, which we see for the very first time. Since the area is known to be a pirate sector, he wants to scan the ship. Luton gives him an Alderan ID, which ultimately checks out. But Captain Elk decides to board the ship anyway, stating that his men could use the practice. So Luton feels the heat and he decides to escape. He uses his countermeasures to destroy the cruiser's tractor beam, um, and Elk immediately dispatches three TIE fighters and one TIE bombers. So a little dogfight engages. Yes, we get to see some cool TIE fighter pilots. I say cool because they're not very talented.
This was a
The
crazy scene though
Oh yeah,
when all of a sudden those things kind of opened up and you had that kind of like oh crap moment, right? Like it reminded me also like in Mandalorian when he's got those what do they call it? Not the whistlers or the whisperers or something like that. The fly
the
out.
whistling birds. Yeah,
Yeah, and then just all of a sudden they just fly out of his ship and completely annihilate that tractor dish or
yeah.
whatever.
But the worst thing is that is the tractor beam that pulls all the countermeasures in the big
Yeah,
dish.
yeah, yeah,
So they destroy their own ship.
yeah,
So
yeah. It was really cool.
yeah. So I'm looking at the chat right now. One, it's possible to destroy a tractor beam reflector and thus
Well, yeah. So
break
it's
free
like
of
it's
it.
like you
Yeah,
just said, right? It kind of
yeah,
pulled in its own kind of demise, right? By especially I guess with how strong it was pulling at this point. I think it was at level 5 or whatever it was. It was at the
yeah.
strongest level. So those things came in hard and they blew up. It's like you said, ended up killing itself. So yeah, but that was really cool. So number two, that
So
someone finally decided to use lasers. So that we'll get to that. Um,
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, then Newton uses his Fondar's arsenal to attack the fighters. First, he uses cannons to destroy the bomber and one fighter. they get blown up pretty quickly. And then he uses some impressive lasers on each side of his ship to destroy the two remaining TIE fighters right before jumping to hyperspace. And, you know, they call his Fondor, a holocraft, I think. But with the two lasers on each side, it's like more like a molocraft
Darth Maul
because it,
crap with
it
the
looks like, yeah, because it looks like a double bladed lightsaber.
yeah. But that whole scene though, like man, I could have rewatched that over and over again. That it was just, and he was like so zoned in, like bang, 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 bang. So it was pretty impressive to see. So it's
Oh yeah.
funny. I was having a discussion with someone at work about Luthen, and he thinks, not definitive, but he's like wondering if this guy has is maybe even a Jedi, and I'm like, it seems
Oh,
a little bit of a reach, but his instincts, his
piloting
intellect,
skills.
yeah, well, whether it be like his piloting, his intellect, like really is the way he sees things, just the way he talks and everything. Obviously, as Luthen, right, is just, and being in hiding and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's an
Mm,
interesting theory. I mean, I don't think so, but it's what it's not impossible. I guess that
yeah.
he is in hiding, right? So
He had the kyber crystal, which he borrowed to Andor as a
when he
down
said he
payment
wanted it
in the
back, he
early
said he
episodes. Yeah,
absolutely wanted it back, right? So
yeah, but I'd say 30% is a Jedi
yeah, same thing. I
on
mean,
my
I told him, I go, I
probability.
don't think so, but you are bringing up a good point, and you even added that one with the kyber crystal that who knows,
Hmm.
right? So, or maybe was related to one, or I don't know, right? But it was
He sure
definitely
looked
interesting.
like Maverick. They're blowing up some bigs in Top Gun for sure.
It was just insane, like just bang, but like for me, it's like his improvisation of the situation and just how quickly he was able to get out of it, and like he's easily become my favorite character of the show, and it's he's kind of like stolen a little bit of the spotlight in my opinion from Cassian. So
Hmm.
and even Cassian, we didn't really see him that much in this episode, but I find it's a good character to share the screen with for sure. So
Yeah, well, Cashin is supposed to be some sort of a jerk. He steals from his friends. He doesn't live up to his word. But we
well,
see
he's
some
changed, right? So
evolution. Yeah,
yeah,
evolution. He's evolving. So
yeah. So after that, we return to Ferrex. Cassian contacts. How do you say? Is that Zan Wan?
John one. Yeah,
Zan Wan, so he can deliver a message to his mother. Um, so he tells her that she'll be proud of him. He will come back as soon as he can. And unfortunately, he announces that his mother has died. So Cassian is shocked. Obviously, not as much as B2. So
hmm,
he doesn't obviously share the same emotions as a droid. Why would he? And Cassian returns to Melchi. And they both talk about the prison break, wondering how many prisoners actually made it out of there. Wondering if they're the only ones that made it. They talk about the importance of telling the galaxy of what exactly has been going on in that prison to make sure. So
I was
Melchi,
hoping they would say that. They heard that our friend Andy Circus had found like a little
Kino,
dinghy in
yeah,
Kino, yeah, and he had found a little dinghy and you know reached shore a few moments later, but nah,
yeah.
we won't know
You
his
see him
fate. I'm sure.
swimming in the background, but I mean, obviously at this
Yeah,
point they're on a different planet. But
different planet. Yeah.
so they decide to split up to increase their chances of being able to spread the word. We know they're ultimately going to end up back together at some point. Um, I'm pretty sure we'll see them together again before Rogue One, and the episode ends on a shot of Andor looking at the horizons, and very reminiscent again of the final moment, and also the same thing as we had seen, I guess, it was in episode 1 or 2 when he's looking out at when they left um, on the ship, and he's like, he's remembering when he was a kid looking out at the sunlight or everything, kind of the same way that we had kind
Yeah.
of spoken about Rogue One, right? So
Mhm. Sure.
again, I'm wondering if there's a reoccurring theme with that looking out. So curious to see where if we're gonna see that again. I wouldn't be surprised. So
On the chat, they say that Kino probably found some armed floaties.
yeah, right. Like a child. Yeah, perfect. Or
Yeah, or he used some boots to make himself some floaties.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's you had to jump first, right? But man, so I don't think that's the end of Kino. I hope not. I mean, I
No,
think
not think so.
if they didn't intend them on coming back, they would have killed him. So I think that they wouldn't just leave such a loose end like that.
Yeah,
Someone who doesn't come back in the movies. I mean, obviously, I don't buy into any of that whole Snoke thing, but like, I think that leaving it open like that is because he will come back, whether it be for an episode or two or whatever.
season
Um,
two.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure we'll see him again. It's not the end of him. So I don't know. Overall, I mean, I'm pretty sure that like anyone who was a fan or is a fan of the show so far would still remain and would have absolutely loved this episode. I mean, as I did. Again, I
Mm-hmm.
thought I thought there'd be a little bit more action packed in this one, but I mean, I was very happy with the episode and absolutely looking forward to what's coming up next. So, is uh
Yeah.
is there
Well,
anything? What did you
I'm
think?
thrilled. I'm thrilled about the episode too. I mean, good mix of storyline, action scenes. As I said
Dialogue and
yeah, dialogue, yeah, for sure. That Saga Gerrera scene was without a doubt my favorite. But great acting by those two guys. I think they elevate each other's acting. When they work together. So it was pretty cool. One other thing I noticed, especially when Matma was speaking to Vel, like her giant living room,
yeah,
uh, her clothes, they're not as elegant or sophisticated as they were in the beginning of the episode, for the first episodes.
hmm.
Remember when she had like banquets and big parties and stuff like that? It was like it felt like she was wearing like a Gucci, Versace, and
Yeah.
you
She's
know,
definitely looking more
designer clothes.
human, right? Like I don't want to say human, but like
Yeah, but her latest costume looked a lot. Well, not a lot, but there's a tendency that is bringing us toward what she looks like in maybe Rowan. One.
more
You
simplistic
don't.
kind of look and
Yeah, more
yeah.
simplistic. Yeah,
Hmm.
back to the basics. Without any special apparel or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking, but uh, because her clothing style in Rogue One and in Return of the Jedi, it's pretty minimalistic, as if you can say.
Yeah.
She
Well, you can only
almost wearing like a
imagine.
drape.
Yeah. I mean, once you're part of the rebels, I assume you don't have a full closet full of wardrobe and whatnot. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
hmm. But that's gonna be part of my second go through of like. So the thing is, I mean, I've watched every episode probably at least twice, especially
Hmm.
when I go back and make the screenshots and everything like that. But I'm looking forward to binging this series uh,
Yeah.
after next week and really going through it and picking up pieces that we've spoken about during these episodes and maybe picking up even more stuff and like you said following and paying attention to these patterns, right?
Hmm.
um, in my case the music patterns or like you said the clothing or anything like that, going back to see like the evolution
Hmm.
in behavior of a Cassian, becoming more and more empathetic, I guess, to the causes and whatnot. So
Yeah.
but you noticed something else.
Yeah. Well. The famous Cantwell class arrestor cruiser. Uh, that was one of the concept designs for the original Star Destroyer back in 1977. It was designed by Carlin Cartwell, and we briefly saw it in Solo, a Star Wars story. So, well, I sent you some pictures on Messenger. I don't know if you managed to put them in the slideshow,
No.
but there was a picture of the actual man, Colin Cartwell, with the concept for the Cantwell class arrestor cruiser,
Ah.
and basically, they honored the guy by giving the ship, the his name. So that's why we're calling it a Cantwell class arrestor cruiser. So I thought it was a pretty neat detail, and as I said, we never really saw it uh, when in the previous movies, but we briefly saw it. I think it was in deleted scenes of Solo: A Star Wars Story, and the only actual time that we saw it in the official cut of the movie was like in a little video that the Empire plays to recruit soldiers. So it was pretty interesting to see, but you need to you can't blink of an eye because you're going to miss it. So let me look at the chat. We got a question like, am I the only one worried that the ship's ID number may track back to Mon Mothma? It's a possibility, but he used a Alderani ID, so it could. I think it could maybe track back to Bail Organa, maybe. So we'll have
Yeah.
to wait and see. But
I don't think he
Bail
would have
Organa,
put anyone like that
trouble.
in danger. I'd be surprised, but
Yeah,
I guess not impossible. It just seems like I don't know. I can't picture him doing anything like that. I think it was probably just something generic. Then, like they said, they checked out. They didn't seem to worry. They were just pursuing him, like you said, just to make more practice. And he was acting a little bit sketchy before, but
I
I,
think he simply picked Alderaan because they're like a peaceful planet, and they're not known for their being pirates or stuff like that. So
yeah,
it would have been a bad idea to choose like Datomir or
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. It would have been a little bit weird.
Yeah. So
Speaking of planets, I'm wondering if there's any kind of reference to other planets that we know that are a bit more, I guess, mainstream, like Andor or something like that. Not Andor, Endor. Uh,
the forest moon of Andor,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. I don't know. I said Andor, but yeah, the forest moon of. So I wonder if there'll be anything like that that'll come up. So I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that planet again, or the I think like
Yeah.
be a good throwback. Maybe throw in an Ewok or whatever.
If you walks, that would be
Yeah,
cool for sure.
yeah.
We got to see briefly Wicket and his son at the end of the
Ah,
Rise of Skywalker movie,
yeah,
but it was like Easter egg for the sake of fan service for the sake of
yeah,
doing fan service, But
yeah.
other than that, I mean,
So, what do you have on the menu for this week um, on the channel?
well, this week I'm making a big coming out. I'll be talking tomorrow about my secret Star Wars addiction.
Oh,
I don't really want to talk about it right now. I prefer to let our viewers find out for themselves tomorrow afternoon. But hopefully you guys won't judge me too harshly. But it's something that I'm not necessarily proud of. But like all addictions, you gotta take responsibilities and make amends. And yeah, I'm working on this, so hopefully you'll enjoy tomorrow's video and be being open about it. So
I'm sure some people will relate. I relate to a degree. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that other people will relate to that addiction, or even to any other addiction that they may have
hmm
related to Star Wars. And I know some people are addicted to the clothing. Getting whether it be T-shirts, or like I know I
well,
have more than a few. And at one point when COVID
you just gave
stopped,
me an
and
idea for another video.
yeah. I know that when I stopped, when COVID stopped, and I had just gathered a whole bunch of clothing of Star Wars, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to go back to work, and all I have is Star Wars T-shirts and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and but anyway, yeah,
Oh, I'm in the same situation now. I don't think I have bought like regular clothing for the last 2 or 3 years.
yeah.
I only bought like Star Wars T-shirt as well, so maybe this Christmas I'll be wearing 2019's Christmas clothes. I don't know.
An ugly sweater. I actually have to try to find an ugly sweater for a party
Yeah,
coming up.
well, if I buy it like this sweater, it's gonna be a Star Wars like this
Yeah,
sweater for
for
sure.
sure.
But
But
my cousin's husband has the Battle of Hot Christmas sweater with the
yeah, I've seen that a
AT-AT.
few times. I've been tempted, but I don't know. It almost gets predictable, so
Yeah,
try to
and
mix up
since he
my
has
clothing.
that one, I want to buy a different one because I'm gonna make a little tag team for Christmas. It would be cool. So, well, I'll try to buy some more fancier clothes
So
for the holidays.
next week is our last episode for Andor.
Yes,
Um,
and the week after, we'll still be on the air. We're not gonna end our streams because Endor is wrapping up. We're gonna do a little podcast on Tales of the Jedi that we haven't really talked about
yeah,
since its release. Was it like 3 weeks ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago.
yeah, seems
So
about right.
we'll talk about that. Perhaps we'll divide the two arcs, if we can say so, the Ahsoka stuff and the Dooku stuff, or maybe we'll just talk about episodes 1, 2, 3, and then
Yeah, we'll have to see. I
four,
mean, we
five,
could
six.
almost literally play the episodes in an hour if we wanted to.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll have to figure it out. But yeah, maybe figure out how we want to split that up. But I mean, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. And if you haven't subscribed or liked the channel yet, we are officially
34
34.
subscribers
Yeah.
shy.
So like and subscribe, share. 34 subs away from 1,000, which is a
Yeah,
huge, huge accomplishment
I just
for
want to underline the fact that I think last week we were 53 subscribers
yeah.
shy. So in the span of a week, we got like almost 20 new subscribers. I want to thank everybody who did take the time to subscribe. It means a whole lot for me. And well, you're making my goal a lot more reachable
Christmas, yeah.
for Christmas. Yeah.
One
So
sub a day is gonna be will be more than enough, and then
yeah,
maybe when you share your I guess your addiction, you'll have more people that are gonna sympathize with you and relate,
yeah,
and then the subs are gonna roll in. So
and I won't feel alone with
yeah,
my addiction.
yeah. So close. So I hope
So
that
let's do
happens soon.
something. If you're listening to this podcast and then you watch tomorrow's video, write in the comments your own Star Wars addiction, the one you're the most ashamed of, and we'll all talk about it, and maybe we'll make a focus group to help each others, and
Sharing is caring. So.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything to add, we can wrap it up. And again, thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah,
And uh, keep sharing and keep liking, and I think that we will definitely be able to hit this before Christmas. So
Absolutely, yeah. I'm pretty confident now. So, all right. So, well, I wish you guys a good evening. Enjoy uh, the rest of the evening, and well, I'll see you next week with Eric for the great finale of the Andor series. And until then, may the force be with you always.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.